Hello everyone, welcome back to Life Training Podcast. My name is Olafisoye Ige, and thank you so much for joining me on this series where I've been talking about living victoriously through difficult times. Living victoriously through difficult times. This is episode 6 of this particular series, and I will be talking about finding inspiration. For you to live victoriously through difficult time, it is important for you to have a repository where you get inspired. All right, inspiration is key. Motivation is key when you are passing through difficult time. So, how do you find inspiration? Firstly, you need to understand that difficult time is either a down moment or a stagnant moment. Is either as a result of you going down the ladder or you not experiencing growth at a particular time. So one thing that can help you during difficult time is for you to be inspired, is for you to get sparked in your creativity, is for you to have something that can cause a push. So when you know that, then you have a resource bank that can keep the fire burning, that can keep the fuel rolling. So one way to do this is for you to find stories of resilience. And you see, one of the beauty of this generation is that there are so many stories, millions of stories on the internet. Stories of resilience. And let me take a typical one from the Bible. If we look at the story of Joseph, Joseph was sold into slavery by his own brothers. Yes. How traumatic can that be? By his own blood brothers, he was sold into slavery. He went to slavery, he got to Egypt and served very well and worked himself to the top of the ladder in Potiphar's house. And yet something again happened and he went back to the prison. These are difficult times in the life of Joseph. So when you read stories like that from this perspective, you begin to get inspired as a result, as the testimony of Joseph evolve. So you know that if you have read the story before, you know that from prison, he was still active in prison. He was not discouraged. So Joseph had the gift of interpretation of dreams, and some set of people came to him and he interpreted that dream, and that was it. That was his gateway, that was his opportunity to the palace. So when you have stories like that, when you have stories of, people like David, you have stories like people like Gideon, stories of Martin Luther King, stories of Nelson Mandela, who have faced challenges upon challenges and yet never gave up. You see, one of the things that can help you during this time is when you see the difficulties these people pass through, and you measure it with what you are passing through, you just say, come on, why am I crying? Look at what this person is passing through. Look at what I'm passing through. So get stories of resilience. Another thing that I believe can deeply help you is what I would call the power of nature. Take a walk. I personally do that sometimes. Whenever I get to a roadblock in my thinking, I take a walk. There is something God had crafted into nature. And when I mean nature, basically things you see. The trees, the birds, you listening to the birds, you don't understand what the birds are saying, but you listening to them, you're moving around and seeing things will definitely help you. Yes, it will. So there is the power of the nature. God is so wise, God is so intelligent that God had infused these possibilities into nature. So another thing you can also do is what I call the gratitude practice. Listen to me. I have often said it on this podcast that a lot of people, the reason why they are facing what they are facing is their gaze is on the problem, not on the solution. Fix your gaze on the solution. And one method that can help you shift your attention from the problem to the solution is gratitude. Practice it. What am I grateful for today? What am I grateful for today? And maybe I should add something to your gratitude, and let me call it gratitude journaling. I personally have seen the power of writing things down. There is a Chinese proverb that says that the faintest pen is better and more effective than the sharpest blade. So give yourself to gratitude practice. And lastly, let me add that you can also give yourself to creative expressions. Or should I call it creative adventures? Travel. If you're a designer, go to the museum. Even if you're not a designer, see what people have crafted. Get the book. See how you are not just learning from the lessons from the book, you are learning how the book was crafted. If you listen to poets, you'll look at how the words are being aligned. These things can inspire you. Listen, you see, sometimes we never can tell what truly can inspire us. So what I will advise you to do is to practice these 4 things I've highlighted. Number 1, again, stories of resilience. Number 2, the power of nature. Number 3, gratitude practices. Number 4, creative expressions. All right. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. I hope you learned 1 or 2 things. The next episode is going to be the last episode on this particular series, and I want you to join me on that episode. And this last episode I've titled it Building a Resilience. Building a resilience, your ability to bounce back and stand out whenever you are faced with difficult time. All right, see you in the next episode. Gracias.